in high school that I discovered my love for writing. And my grammar ain't so great. However, in the process of putting my thoughts down on paper and telling a story, I've always found to be liberating for me. As a child, I would imagine these elaborate stories with playing with my action figures or playing with friends and whatever else. As I got older, I began to add morals to my story and found it impossible as I went along to not incorporate spiritual or philosophical themes. I started out wanting to write novels and short stories. I planned on going to a writing university in Ireland just as soon as I got out of high school. Well, I didn't save up enough money in time, and also I wanted to move to California. The reason why is because I had changed my dreams, my focus. I now wanted to be a screenplay writer and make movies. Part of the reason why the novel short story thing didn't work out is because I'm pretty sure that my poetic license had been revoked. So why am I here talking with you? Why am I not living in Europe writing for Stephen Moffat on Doctor Who? Why is it the only scripts I write are for video podcasts on religion and spirituality? Why would Yahweh not allow me to pursue my dreams? Well, I am pursuing my dreams. I'm writing and I'm making movies. I get to make my own content, free of corporate control and censorship. 10 years ago, I never would have dreamt of today's possibilities of self-publication on the internet. However, the most important thing I learned was that it wasn't Yahweh keeping me from my dreams. Yahweh wanted to give me my dreams, but with his agenda in mind. In the beginning, Yahweh said to the Elohim, "Let us create man in our image." Yahweh created man out of the earth and breathed the breath of life into him. And then he charged the Elohim with the task of educating them in the ways of the kingdom. Yet there was one caveat. Yahweh told Adam, "You can eat of any tree in the garden except that one, the tree of the knowledge of the good and the evil. For in that day you eat of it, you shall surely die." Then that old serpent came and deceived Eve into eating that fruit, which she gave to her husband, who was there with her. And their eyes were opened to the knowledge of good and evil. The curse of sin came upon them. They were thrown out of the Garden of Eden. Then Yahweh turned to his Elohim and said, "Behold, mankind has become like us, knowing good from evil." Wait, what? Yahweh created man to be like him, and then get pissed off when he finds out that they have achieved it? Something about the scenario doesn't sit right. He wanted man to become like him, then punishes them after the fact. He put the tree of knowledge in the garden, knowing full well that they were going to fall. That is what we call entrapment in the biz. So basically, the entire Christian scenario plays out like this. He sacrificed himself to save the world from himself, from a problem that he could have prevented himself. It seemed like to me that if he was all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-loving, that he just wouldn't have put the tree in there to begin with. There has to be another solution to this, right? So let's assume Yeshua isn't God, that hell is not eternal, and that Yahweh actually has a plan, and he's not just trying to screw with us. It's a stretch, I know, but if you made it with me this far, indulge me. So then what is the purpose of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Well, we know this. It was supposed to be in the garden, and that it was a good thing. Why? Well, after Yahweh created everything on the seventh day, he looked at it all and said, "This is very good." The tree was not very good if its only purpose was to bring down humanity. Secondly, the goal of humanity was to be like the Elohim. That included knowing good from evil. The question just came down to when. You see, Yahweh never intended to keep it from us. He just didn't want us eating from it too soon. See the show notes for a link for more in-depth on this topic. The scripture has said time and time again that those who seek will find, those who ask it will be given, and those who knock, the door will be open. Proverbs says that Yahweh conceals things, but that kings search them out. Paul even said that Yahweh will reveal to us the mysteries of Yeshua, which I take to mean he will show us how to know good from evil and to not sin in the process. The scriptures state, "To whom much is given, much will be required, and to those who are faithful in little things will become faithful in a lot." Knowing good from evil means being able to have our ability to make our own value judgments. But what if we don't know what to value? How then do we judge it? Well, without the guiding hand of Yahweh, who has absolute knowledge, all we have left is ourselves. And all we have is relative knowledge. We tend to make the evil good and the good evil to suit our own agenda. Adam committed 2 sins before committing the one that he was held accountable to. The first one was he was impatient. He knew he was supposed to eat of that tree. He just hadn't finished the necessary classes in order to qualify to eat it. The purpose of having him wait was to see if he would follow instructions. Because if Adam could demonstrate faithfulness with the instruction before eating the tree, then he would demonstrate faithfulness after eating the tree. The second sin that he committed was not telling Eve. The scripture said that she was deceived, meaning she had no idea what was going on. Yet Adam, who was there with her, said nothing when she was being tempted. Maybe she was his taste tester, because if she didn't die, neither would he. And in the end, I suspect that Eve's ignorance is what saved them, because had they both known, or had Adam eaten first, I believe that Yahweh would have struck them dead on the spot, and just would have started over. You see, if Adam had waited, there would have been no original sin. The ability of sin would have existed, but the predisposition to sin would not have. We as humanity could have been born like Yeshua, like the Elohim, with the knowledge of sin, but not the predisposition to it. In other words, we would have had perfect free will, because now we have no choice but to sin, and we have to be delivered from it. Had I acted on my desire to be a writer and a movie maker back in high school, well, I could have had my dream, as well as the success that the world would have given me for it. Yet I would not have been a part of Yahweh's plan, and I would have had to deal with the consequences of that, of acting too soon on my giftings. Is that the whole point of the theology and the constant theme throughout these podcasts? To find out what Yahweh wants and to be faithful to His word? We choose every day to do things our own way, whether good or evil, instead of His ways, which are righteous and just. In the next section, the mission statement, I want to cover the practical applications of Yahweh's principles and doctrine. Yahweh does have a plan for your life, but it's not for your choosing, it's His. Now, I know you've heard that before. But He isn't saying, let me help you out with your career of your choosing based on your talents. He's saying, this is what I'm doing. It does not involve the world's economic, political, or social systems. Yahweh does not give you your talents. You give your talents to Yahweh.